In this series of videos, we've been looking at relevant costs for short-term decision making. In this video, we're going to look at a special order situation. What I mean by special order is, let's say we normally sell our product for $10. Somebody walks through the door and says, hey, I only want to pay $6, but I'm going to buy 1,000 of your product. I'm going to buy a lot. Should we take the order or not? Well, we'll look at the accounting behind that decision. So this is called a special order decision. So let's read through the question. Kate's company manufactures and sells a single product called a ting. Operating at capacity, the company can produce and sell 45,000 tings per year. Costs associated with this level of production and sales are as follows. So there's material, labor, variable overhead. Fixed overhead I'm immediately suspicious of. I go, okay, usually fixed overhead is not relevant, so I'm just in the back of my mind I'm thinking that might not be relevant. We'll see. Variable selling $8, fixed selling $9, total cost $69. Tings usually sell for $75 each, not much of a markup. Fixed overhead is constant at $630,000 per year. That sentence is just telling me fixed overhead is not going to be relevant to this decision. Fixed overhead doesn't change, between 35 and 45,000 tings per year. Next year, Kate's company expects to sell only 40,000 tings. A large retail chain has offered to purchase 5,000 tings if Kate's is willing to accept a 20% discount from the regular price. Okay, so we're not going to be at capacity next year, but a big retailer is offering to buy 40,000 tings from us if we're willing to take a 20% discount. So it was 75 grand, 20% off is 60 grand. So 60, not 75 grand, $60 per unit. And you can see our total cost is 69, so it's not looking so great, but we'll see. There would be no sales commissions on this order, and thus variable selling expenses would be reduced by 75%. So our variable selling expenses are going down. However, Kate's company would have to purchase a special machine to engrave the retail chain's name on the 5,000 units. This machine would cost $40,000. The company has no assurance that the retail store would purchase additional units at any time in the future. Determine the impact on profits next year if the special order is accepted. So, all right, let's figure out what costs are relevant, how many units we're moving, and whether we should do this deal or not. Ooh, Windows 8 is so funny. Okay, so what are the relevant costs to this decision? And why don't we do it in per unit and in total? And remember, our total is 5,000 units that we're going to be moving off to this department store. So materials, always going to be relevant. They certainly are here. Again, the option is to make these 5,000 units or to make 0 units for this special order. So if I make them, I pay $22 a unit in materials. If I don't make them, I spend 0 in materials for these 5,000 units, and that totals to $110,000, I believe. Oh, you know what? I probably started in the wrong spot here. I'm going to back up a step. The most relevant thing, or one of the most relevant things, is that we're getting paid. So let's figure out not necessarily relevant cost here. It's relevant everything. In this case, there's going to be some relevant sales revenue, right? And some relevant money coming in the door. We're going to sell these guys 5,000 units, and they're going to pay us, well, not 75 bucks, but 20% off 75 bucks. 75 times 20% equals 15 bucks. So they get a $15 discount. So they're not going to pay 75. 75 minus 15, they're going to pay 60 for their 5,000 units. So let's see, they're paying 60, or they're paying us $60. 5,000 units at $60 is $300,000. So we're going to have $300,000 flow in. Let's see what we're going to have flow out. So our relevant costs are, as we just said, materials, and our materials were $22 a unit, which gives us $110,000 in cost. Our labor cost of making these is $12 a unit, which gives us $60,000 in cost total. Our variable overhead we said was relevant, $4. 4 times 5 is $20,000 in total cost. Our fixed overhead, well, fixed overhead is constant at 630 between 35 and 45,000 things a year. So it's going to be 630 whether we take the order or not. It's not relevant, right? It doesn't matter what I do. If I take the order, if I don't, it's the same. It's not different between the alternatives, not relevant. Variable selling expense, well, it was normally $8, but they said it's 75%, right? Variable selling expenses would be slashed by 75%. So if it was $8, they're only going to be $2 because there's no commissions on these deals. So variable selling is $2, and 2 times 5 is $10,000. Now, fixed selling, I think we've got to assume is not relevant here. It doesn't really say much about fixed selling, but if we assume selling costs are fixed, and if I sell 40,000 or if I sell 45, I'm still going to pay 405 in fixed selling costs. Well, that wouldn't be a relevant cost. So I think fixed cost here is irrelevant unless it tells me otherwise. The question hasn't told me anything else, so I'm going to assume it's not relevant. Our total relevant cost, 22 plus 12 plus 4 plus 2, 6, oh, my math is so bad. 22 plus 12 is 34. 34 and 6 is 40. My total relevant cost here, 200. So 60 minus 40 is 20. 300 minus 200 is 100. Aha! We're almost done, but not so fast. There's also the matter of the fact that we have to buy a special machine for these guys. And it says the machine's going to cost us 40 grand, and there's no assurance they're going to come back and purchase more, so we might just be stuck with this machine that has no use to us. So that 40 grand is totally relevant, and we've got to include that. So the special machine cost, I'll just call it machine cost, is 40 grand, which of course is $5 per unit, meaning we're going to make $15 a unit on this deal, or we're going to make $60,000. So the benefit of accepting the deal is we're $60,000 better off. Now again, something that would always concern me is if I took the deal, would it affect my other sales? I believe the question tells us it won't, but that's always a concern. If you accept a special order, will it affect your other sales? And it's really important to know, because the theory of this would be like, let's say I ran a movie theater and it was, 7:01, the movie started at 7, and somebody walked up to me and they said, hey, there's empty seats in the theater, can I give you $1 and get in? Well, the accounting theory would go, yeah, you take the $1 because you're $1 ahead, right? There's no extra cost for that butt sitting in the seat, so put the $1 in your pocket and you're $1 ahead. But the reality is, if you made a habit of doing that, nobody would come to the movies on time. They would come late and they would pay you $1 to go walk in late to the movie, and that's what everyone would do. So just because relevant cost analysis says it's right doesn't necessarily make it right for the company. So in this case, we're $60,000 better off, but will it affect our sales of our other products if we're giving the exact same product away for cheaper to this retailer? Anyway, this question says that's not a problem, but that's something to worry about for real situations. That's it for this video on special orders. One more video on constrained resource decisions. That's it for this one.